A new year, a new resolution to put more design into your new year. And we do that each weekend here with Damian on Design. He is Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group in Ann Arbor, renowned for the work that he does. And I, have said this on the show before, Damian, I am a little bit more to the traditional side of things, but you've already opened my eyes to what's out there trending and what's new, and embracing a little bit of the more modern approach to design, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's not who I am inside, but now all of a sudden I'm seeing the light, so to speak. So. Top 10 design resolutions for the year coming up, and Damian does it in a little different way. Top 10 is really your baker's dozen.
Yes, I cheated. I snuck on 13.
13. That's quite all right. Let's start with number 1, and that's to raise the awareness and importance of design in our lives and developing a vocabulary of design.
Yes. And how we are planning to do that is through the website we mentioned earlier, Pinterest, is build a community of people posting things they love, have seen, and so on, and create a giant photo album, if you will, around our show. That would be enduring, sustainable, things, people can go back to it and look at great ideas and designs.
So Pinterest is Pinterest.
That's correct.
And this is this community online where you can post all this, and that's where you're posting all this.
We are posting, and we can invite people, and that's how it works. You simply invite people, and we're already getting some great comments just from the things we started to post some fireplace designs from our previous show already. And we're getting some comments from people around the world. Fortunately, with having grown up in South Africa, and I'm the only family member on this continent, we, as I recounted to you right before we started the show, at the moment I know that we're getting comments from 7 different countries around the world.
Let's name those. Where are people listening to?
Okay, Australia, New Zealand, Malawi, England, the Netherlands, South Africa, and Spain and Italy. There you go. Those are the other ones. There you go.
Well, welcome to all of you. We're so glad you're tuning in to Damian on Design with us, because I have been a big fan of Damian's for years here in Ann Arbor, and we're so lucky to have you here, and your wife, Catherine Farrell. She's fabulous. Top 10 design resolutions for 2012. So as we talk about the vocabulary of design, by posting these things on Pinterest, people will be able to see what's out there and maybe come to some new conclusions about what they like that they didn't know they liked.
That's exactly, when we talk about vocabulary, that's exactly what we're after. And I think we've discovered a way, thanks to a good client, John Katarski, morning John, how to use Pinterest.
And you can go on to Damian's website and actually access Pinterest that way as well, dfdgonline.com. Number 2 in Damian's top 10 design resolutions, design in the architecture world.
Well, that brings it really home. I am an architect, and so I do want to talk about some of that. This is what I do on a daily basis, and look at design here, countrywide, abroad. Let's look worldwide. There's so much going on right now in the world of sustainability, of stewardship of the earth, looking after our resources. And there's some great stuff beyond just the small things that we have been used to.
And sometimes I think that people that might be stuck in a 1960s home here in Ann Arbor don't realize that there are things you can do with the design of your home to improve your picture, right?
There are many things that you can do that everyone's talking about paybacks these days, right? Financial paybacks, dramatic paybacks, short periods of time. In other words, investments. True investments in your home. Some of them you can see, some of them you won't see, but in the performance of your home.
Give some examples of that, what that might be.
Insulation, for one. I'll give you a quick example. My own home, which is now only 11 years old, all right, it's a sprawling home because it has a little bit of my South Africa in it. So it has 14 sets of French doors, which I think would probably also fail Design 101 to any architecture professor in this climate. But I love connecting indoor to outdoor.
Yes.
So I've done it in an overboard way on my own home. And that home was insulated with the classic pink fiber insulation we used to. Now we have the benefit of blown-in insulation, recycled denim, recycled newspaper, all of that sort of stuff. 3 years ago, we went in and did the simple move of blowing in 8 inches of cellulose insulation over the top of the pink stuff throughout my attic.
So you don't have to take the pink stuff out.
No, no, no. We went straight over the top, right? And that's all I did. And I will tell you that it cost $1,700 to do that in a substantial sized home.
Right.
And I cut our heating and our cooling bill in half. And
Just
I'm not kidding you.
For $1,700.
For $1,700.
You cut your heating bill in half.
And my payback was 2 months.
In 2 months, you realize the payback.
Correct.
That's incredible. And that's a great example. Even in an 11-year-old home, that's not that old, but
Oh, shame on me, right?
well, can you imagine for a draftier home what
Yes.
can be realized in
So
that?
very quickly, window replacements, insulation, sealing around,
Okay.
caulking, some of those kinds of things, right? Updating furnaces, etc. Right.
Damian's top 10 design resolutions, which are actually numbering 13. We're on number 3 right now. What's going on in Washington County, the country, the world, in the design world? This kind of plays into what you were talking about.
It was, and I think, I'd like to, I think our listenership is largely Washington County. Let's start here. Let's take a look at what's going on around us with new projects, new buildings. City Hall's a great one. I mean, look what's happened at City Hall, right? And
There's been a lot of controversy over that.
oh, there has. I
Putting
hope it's a show.
Putting that uniquely modern type of design and sustainability of what they've done there to that old building.
Yes.
And there are some people that don't see how that design marries up to the old building.
And I'd love to do a show, hopefully we will, on that particular topic. Because I think it's beautiful. I have some rather controversial views on the sculpture, as much as I love Dreisaitel's work.
This is the water sculpture that
Yes.
has been put in there
Yes.
off of
And it's
Huron.
not about the function, it's about scale, just so that the people who might get upset at me understand what I want
The
to talk
function
about.
is that it's taking the water and
Correct.
recycling it.
And displaying it in a very artistic fashion.
Right.
All right. And that's what Dreisaitel is known. I'm a huge fan of his work.
I thought that it was going to be a little bigger, though. This is.
You hit it.
I think for the scale of that building and what was built there in the modern part of the city hall,
Look at you. You've got the vocabulary. You've stolen my thunder.
I was surprised that the sculpture was not that big
That's my point.
in comparison.
A shame,
Yeah.
I think, to do with the scale. The rest of it is gorgeous. And I'd love to talk about how it all works.
All right, but this is that whole idea of marrying up. You have to think about the community you live in. The kinds of things that are important to this community might be different from our friends in Australia listening, for instance. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's climate. The climate base, the climate impact is enormous.
All right. Number 4 on your list, factory-built constructions. What are you talking about?
The ugly word, prefab. All right. But we have been pushing factory-built construction in our practice now for over a decade. And I'm literally talking about factory-built. This is not your typical prefab modular homes. I am talking about taking any kind of design. I can factory build and design something to be factory built of the most expensive homes that you could imagine, because they can be factory built in pieces and assembled. The beauty of it, I think, is the quality of construction, because it's been done in a controlled environment. It has to travel over the road, which means that it can't crack and bend and so on. So the quality is fabulous. The last project we did in adult foster care, the factory-built units arrived complete, and I'm talking about lights on the wall, kitchen installed, bathroom installed, painted, everything except the carpeting, which came in a roll in each little box,
Right.
each little segment, all pre-cut, ready to install.
Wow.
And in some cases, the ceramic tile, because that is prone, obviously. And so that was all that was required to be done. It came with its roof on, its ceiling on, and literally you plug in the pieces next to each other.
So don't discount factory-built.
Do not
construction.
discount. There is a movement. It started very strongly before the economy crashed, and sad, I think, that some of the work that was being done has come to somewhat of a screeching halt, because most of it was being done on the West Coast. Building costs are very high on the West Coast. Land expenses during that time was very high, and so the people who were doing it because of their passion for it, and they understood the benefits of it. I am continually pushing it right now. We are looking at 2 projects here in Washington County, or right here in Ann Arbor,
Right.
which we are hoping to do. And if we do, there's a show. The idea, I tell you, it is so much fun to watch pieces of a building come on a trailer, lifted by a crane, put in place, and joined together, and there's a building.
Are you seeing more of these companies that do this cropping up across
No,
America?
sadly, we've seen a reduction, but what the people that we have worked with, the quality of what they do,
Right.
the passion they have matches our passion. There's the waste factor is cut down, the working conditions for people. These things are built on platforms where people are standing and working on them without bending down. They're not working through the winter time,
Right.
in the freezing cold and so on. And the quality control is just tremendous. Tremendous.
And again, for people that are used to the word prefab home, this is, again, the changes because of the technology changing, I think, are remarkable, making it
No, we can
much more valuable.
componentize, if you will, for want of a word, any design that we do and bring it to the site on trailers and put it into place.
A better way to build.
A better way to build.
Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group in Ann Arbor. Number 5 on his list of top 10 design resolutions for the new year is healthy environments, home and work.
Oh, and this one we are going to make a show on its own. It's a passion of mine. We have so many things that everyone's heard about off-gassing, but there's more than just that. It's the movement of air, the capture of fresh air, the design of workspaces in particular, and there's a whole show that we're going to do on that, and I think people will find it fascinating.
All right, and these are all things that you need to be concerned about as a homeowner or would-be homeowner in the design of your home and the building of it. Number 6, talk about great and notable buildings and places. We need to pay tribute to those to understand design.
We do.
Your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Oh my goodness.
Anywhere in the world, if you had to select something that is quintessential Damian Farrell, what you believe in and
Well, I have some favorites that are very, very old, and then I have some favorites that are newer. I'm going to pick the Sydney Opera House
why that?
because of what it did at its time. It was so dramatic in its use of materials, in its form, in its location, and how it is endured as a truly iconic. My list could be 100, but if it's one, I'm going to pick that.
And everyone can look up the Sydney Opera House if it doesn't come to mind to you to see what Damian's talking about. Number 7 on your list is designing for accessibility. This is of great concern to today's society, particularly the boomers who are aging and they need homes that can work for them.
Yes. And, you know, for a long time, accessibility really focused on people in wheelchairs. If you looked at early design codes, all of the graphics were all about wheelchairs. But, you know, there are hearing impairments, there are sight impairments, there are things that go wrong with our bodies. So the people who are still ambulatory have their own sets of accessibility. This is accessibility through everything.
Yeah.
Getting in.
You have to explain something to me. This has been burning on my mind. Hotels.
Aha!
In the rooms that are deemed accessible, and usually these are the suites they've made into some kind of accessible suite. Okay, so there's the wider door, and you know, you get it when you walk in. Why are the toilets on the floor? Who possibly can get up from the floor? I would think that a higher toilet is a better way to go for everyone.
Absolutely.
Why do they do that?
I don't know. They, again, smack, 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 you know, failed design 101.
Every single hotel I've been in, they've got the lower...
And it's such a basic thing. We make them. They're so accessible, pardon the pun, to any builder designer.
Well, and it would seem that anyone in a wheelchair, that it would be much easier to slide, you know, to the height of the chair than to go drop down and try to drop back up.
Yes.
So...
think
about
ignorance.
that.
I'm just going to go,
something about
I'm going to
that.
be nasty. Ignorance. There you go.
I think so. All right, again, accessibility is going to be a prime concern. 2012, we're talking about it with Damian Farrell, number 8 on his list of top 10 design resolutions. What's going on in the world of green?
Oh, I think an exciting topic, you know. Everyone's been aware of it after the awareness. We started with recycling, but it's gone so far beyond that into what people are now calling integrated design, where we're no longer just adding things like solar panels or photovoltaic panels and so on. And we will be, I think the best thing there is a picture tells 1,000 words. So watch what we're doing on Pinterest from around the world as to what people are doing to reduce recycle, and I've forgotten the third R off the top of my head. Reduce, recycle,
Reuse.
and reuse. Thank you, thank you. But it's just a stewardship of our earth and our resources.
Number 9, doing more with less. I've seen where the larger homes now, many people want those same quality of construction, but in a smaller footprint.
Absolutely. I'm seeing it in our remodel work, and I'm seeing it in what is now, we're seeing a little bit of new home design coming back through our office, which has always been one of our mainstays. That's exactly where people are going.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think that is? Is it because they're more conscious of the environmental? Is it money?
Yes.
Is it all
I believe it is that.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe financing right now is playing into that because of the difficulties, but I believe things like energy costs, people's awareness of materials and the use of materials, the impact of fossil fuels and so on. This very broad topic reaches deeply into many, many arenas around the world.
Number 10 and 11 on your list, fashion design and car design, because design plays into our everyday world. And it's always interesting to see when the cars come out. I remember years ago when the egg-shaped cars came out, I thought, where did that come from?
Well, what were the French thinking when they designed the Citroën DS?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I'm a car guy. I love cars. And it's been a fascination of mine. My father was a car guy, so I grew up with great cars. And it's the ultimate expression of engineering combined with design. All right. So that's my fascination. And in fact, very quickly, we're going to dedicate January to the car, because locally, of course, we have the auto show, and I just think it's appropriate. It's a Michigan business, car design.
We're going to be talking.
We're going to be talking
with car guys and
talking with car guys all month. Yes,
it's going to be a lot of fun here. And finally, on your list here, stir up a little trouble. That's what Damian wants to do with Damian on Design, is stir up a little trouble.
Well, I'm sure there's some raised eyebrows. The whole idea of an architect, a man talking about fashion and design. All right.
Not at all. If you have it, you have it. It doesn't matter what sex you are, you know. But the idea is that we're going to try to have other people who don't feel like they've got a bone in them for design to understand how to go about doing it.
I think, especially when we deal with some of the local issues on on buildings around here.
Right, right. All right, looking forward to it. We're going to be talking with a lot of people in this upcoming year on this segment with Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group. And you can go to his website, which is dfdgonline.com. and learn more. Access that Pinterest website where people are posting their photos and maybe bring some new ideas to your own home.
That's our hope.
Happy New Year.
And to you too.
And great design in the new year.
Great design in 2012. Absolutely.
You're listening to Business Talk, 1290 WLBY.